Or let's role play for a moment. If I was God, right, what would I do to someone who denied me? And I would just send a bolt of lightning and get rid of him. Well, I need you in my in my world. You're going to deny me? You're going to dismiss me? Get out of here. I don't need you. I don't want you. And that's what I would do if I was God, right? I mean, look, let's say there was a kid in Yeshiva, right? And I would say, listen, do you mind doing this? Who are you? I'm the Yeshiva here, right? Get out of here. Right? I wouldn't tolerate the guy for 5 minutes. So the fact that a Molech exists in the world, right, creates a doubt. Maybe they're right. Because if they were wrong, right, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wouldn't let them exist. Right? The fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tolerates them, maybe they're right. Because if they were wrong, Hashem wouldn't tolerate them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is very patient, by the way. That's why it's not a kasha. He has all the time in the world. He's not in a rush. It's like the joke where the guy needed money. He says, Yivona Shalayla, he says, to you, all the riches in the world are but a penny. Right? To you, says, all the centuries are but a moment. Yivona Shalayla, send me a penny. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, wait a moment. He has all the time in the world. He's not in a rush. So therefore, that's why he tolerates these things. Right? But we're impatient. We're only here, the Esther Rishana, Bizu 106. We're impatient. So Hashem, this time. But it creates a doubt. It's brought in the Sfarim that the gematria of Amalek is Safek. Their very existence is moilet tzveikis. It arouses doubts in our, and that's the idea that the shame is not shalom. Right? The shame of something is not the essence of the thing. The shame is the reputation of the thing. We talk about a person's name, right? That means his reputation, what people say about him. That's your name, your good name. Shame tov, right? Is your reputation. So God's reputation is not shalom. Now, the existence of Amalek creates doubts, and we don't perceive the truth of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and His Hashgacha as we should, because the very existence of Amalek is a kasha. If Hashem tolerates them, maybe they're right. So it says in Svarim, Midrashim, there's a Ramban in the Akdama that says that Kol HaTorah Kula is Shemaisav Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right, all the entire Torah is comprised of names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What does that mean? The entire Torah is comprised of names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It means like this. Now, there's a lot of different things in the Torah, a lot of different subjects in the Torah. But if you avoid the error of losing the forest for the trees, the one thing that the Torah is about God. And there are a lot of details. That's what it's about. And that's what we're meant to learn from the Torah, from the mitzvahs, what God is all about, what He values, what's important to Him, what we can understand about His essence. And as long as there's a Malek in the world, Ein Shmai Shalom. That means what we're meant to get out of Torah is not Shalom. We can't get out of Torah what we're meant to get out of it. We're meant to get out of it the shame Hashem, because Torah is Shemaisav Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but the shame isn't Shalom as long as there's a Malek in the world. So a Malek makes it that we can't get out of Torah what we want to get out of Torah. When there's a Mechias Amalek, when Amalek it's not utterly destroyed, it's suppressed somewhat, there is commensurate to the Mechias Amalek, there is a enlightenment of Torah. There's more we can get from Torah than we could have gotten otherwise. And that's what it says, La Yehudim Haisa'ora in the Megillah. But after the downfall of Haman, La Yehudim Haisa'ora, and the Chazal say, Eira Zu Torah. So what does it mean, Eira Zu Torah? There was light meaning Torah, meaning that there were elements of enlightenment that emerged only after the downfall of Haman and the Amalekim that were with him. And that's the Shalach Manos that the Kodesh Baruch Hu sends on Purim. Right? The Shalach Manos that these Talmidei Chachamim that are called Moshe receive on Purim, that with the Mechias HaMalek of Purim, which is Nisayr every year, there is a new enlightenment in Torah that emerges. There's something more that we get out of Torah that we could not get out of the Torah before. And that's God's Shalach Manos on Purim. Right? The Mechias HaMalek on Purim is a Shalach Manos to those people who are called Moshe, those people who are the Talmidei Chachamim, those people whose lives are devoted to Torah. There's an enlightenment they receive on Purim that is something added, something new, which they don't have.
Isn't that opposite to our Shalach Manos? We send to the poor.
No, Shalach Manos is not to the poor. Shalach Manos is to friends. We'll see.
Right.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. But Tanas Lovianim is to the poor. That's something else. Shalach Manos is sent to your next door neighbor, your friend, etc. So God says to his friends, Shalach Manos. Yeah.
Every year when the Talmid Chachamim get a different enlightenment on Purim, is it because every year a Moloch is erased to a little bit more?
Right.
With the cumulative,
right. There's a Mechias HaMalek. Every year Purim is a Mechias HaMalek. Right. We obliterate a little bit more of the ideology of Amalek, and therefore commensurate to that Mechia, there is an enlightenment which comes to the people who are Dovak and Torah. You know, just before I go on, wouldn't you love to have a Purim like that?
Yeah.
Imagine what a Purim like that would be.
Sometimes I think we do have Purims like that, but after Purim's over, we don't remember. The enlightenment.
That could be.
Certainly often feel it at the time.
That could be.
It was an enlightenment.
What I'm saying, but a Purim, imagine a Purim like that. A Purim that there's mamish, you really think about the Megillah, you think about what the story is teaching us. There's a little bit of you suppress a little bit of Amalek. There's an enlightenment, a new insight, this thing new that you understand that you didn't understand before. I mean, that would be a fantastic thing. Maybe we do have that. But that's what he's talking about. So now, it's like this. So now he's going to explain the details. The details are fascinating, how he explains this. And he's like this. Now we know the halacha is that Shalach Manos, there are two manais, there are two gifts, la'adam echad, to a single person. That's the minimum. That's the minimum. You have to send two manos to a single person. So how does that fit? If we're talking about this Shalach Manos of Torah, what are the two manais and what is the Adam Echad? So he says the Adam Echad, he says Hainu called a Talmidei Chacham of Yisrael Nikru Adam Echad. Talmidei Chacham are called Adam Echad. Re'eyu Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the friends of God, because Echad refers to God. Adam Echad means God's person. The Adam of Echad, the Adam, the man of the one God. That's Adam Echad. Those are the, who are God's men? God says, I need some good men. So who are those men, God's men? Those are the Talmidei Chachamim. So it's called Adam Echad. Right? And that's where Eosh HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And these are God's friends. Shekain Koreyu, we see, it says, L'man Achai V'Reyai. Chazal say that Hashem says, for the sake of my brothers and friends, first Talmidei Chachamim, V'Darchei Razal Darshan Al Posuk Reach Avrei Avicha Al Tarzai. Says you shouldn't abandon your friend and your father's friend. Zeh HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now when it says Reach Avicha, your father's friend, right? So what does that mean? Right? Uperish Avicha is a Chachma, Kiyadua. That's Chachma. Because Al Pi Kabbalah, the midas of Abba, of Chachma and Bina, Chachma is Abba and Bina is Ima. Do I explain why that is? Or is that Pasha? Why that is? Why Chachma is Abba and Bina is Ima? No? It's very simple. See, Chachma is the basic bit of knowledge. Is Chachma. Bina is you take a bit of knowledge and you develop it, you expand it. You see its corollaries, you see what follows from it, you see what can be derived from it. Okay? That's called Bina. Bina is Mevin Dover Mitech Dover. Bina is you understand something from something else. You have an axiom, you stand from the axioms what theorems can be extracted, what corollaries can be extracted. Okay? Now, likewise, when you talk about an idea, a plan, so first there's the basic conception that resides in Chachma, right? And then it's developed, it expands, right, on the level of Bina. Now, let's say, for example, I decide that I want to build a house, and in my mind's eye, I have a picture of the dream house. That's in Chachma. But how am I going to achieve that goal? So I need an architect, I need financing, I need all the things. That's Maven Dover Mitech Dover. I understand from the basic scheme what I need to implement it. It's the expansion of Chachma is Bina. As we know, in the biological production of a child, the contribution of a father is very, very, very small. Very small and momentary. Right? And it expands in the womb of the mother. Right? This is where the child develops. This is where it grows. And that's the idea of Chachma and Bina. That's Abba and Ima, father and mother. But Avicha is Chachma. Right? So Reya Avicha means the friends of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu is called Avicha. This means the people that are friends of the aspect of Chachma of the Rebbeinu Shloim. These are the Talmidei Chachamim. Ubeis Manais, Hainu Deish Beis Chachmas, V'divrei Torah. Right? There are two Chachmas to Torah. Now, before I go on, let me just explain the terminology over here, because the terminology, there's a confusion in terminology, and this is nothing to do with Chassidus, just generally. We're talking about Torah Shebal Peh. And we talk about there being two Torahs, Torah Shebechsav and Torah Shebal Peh. Now, the Rambam uses a different classification. There are really three branches. There's Torah Shebechsav, Torah Shebal Peh, and what he calls Gemara. Right? What are the three parts? You see, we use the term Torah Shebal Peh to lump together two different things. And the Rambam divides them. One of the two we call Torah Shebal Peh, the other he calls Gemara. Torah Shebal Peh, as the Rambam uses it, is the body of information that was transmitted orally by Moshe Rabbeinu to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Moshe Rabbeinu. In other words, just like Torah Shebechsav came from God in its entirety to Moshe Rabbeinu, Torah Shebal Peh, the Rambam uses it, also came entirely from God to Moshe Rabbeinu. The difference is this was written down, this remained oral. Chidushay Torah, this that we reveal, or this that we come to understand, that Rambam calls Gemara. The Rambam calls Gemara. Okay? It could be called Torah Shebal Peh too, but to avoid confusion, the Rambam gives it a different name, called Gemara. So, what is the difference? Torah Shebechsav and the Rambam's Torah Shebal Peh comes from above. Gemara, this is what we're Machadesh, this is what we innovate. Right? Now, admittedly, right, the inspiration for that also comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You know, if it's really new, then it isn't true. In other words, it has to be contained within the Torah. But there's a joint effort. There's something we contribute to that. So he says there are two monos, because there are two chachmas in Divrei Torah. The first is Torah Shebechsav and Torah Shebal Peh. Those two together are the first. That's Shem Chacham Ilah. That's the heavenly chachma. Masher Murgosh Shumei Hashem Yisbarach. Right? That we know comes from God. Right? In other words, we all know that the text of the Chumash comes from God, and the Torah Shebal Peh, the basic definitions, that we also know comes from God. Because those are things that we can't grasp with human intellect. You know, we wouldn't make them up on our own. The Chachma Tata, this is the lower level, the lower wisdom, Mashinira the Seichel Anushi Masigo, right? Is that which it seems that we can grasp. But you should know that also comes from Hashem. Where does an idea come from? Where do ideas come from? You think you make up ideas? I mentioned, I once read somewhere, that the ancient Greeks thought, where do ideas, they get an idea, where does an idea come from? So they thought there were ideas floating around in the air, right? And you get an idea, when you bump into an idea, it goes into your head. So therefore they held, that's why it's good to walk when you're thinking. Because you maximize the likelihood of a collision. You know, if you bump into an idea. Right? So where do ideas come from? Ideas also come from the Rebbeinu Shalom. In other words, you think, I thought of a great idea. Right? I mean, people think there's a machine in their body that generates ideas. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts ideas in your head. So the difference is, you think you made up the idea, but really it also comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'heim beis monosh masikim b'Purim. These are the two monos of Torah we get on Purim. His chatras believe medivrei Torah, the chatras of the divrei Torah, mashu goli Hashem Yisbarach, that which we know comes from Hashem, umashu behelam, and that which is really concealed. V'nirek is chatras aleiv. You think that it's originating in your heart, but really it's also a gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? It's like sometimes, after Purim, you go into your cupboard and you see something there that looks geschmack to eat. And you wonder where it came from, right? And you think you bought it in the supermarket. And then your wife tells you, "No, would I buy that? That junk? It came from Shalchamanos." It's the same thing. In other words, you think it's your idea. It's really the Shalchamanos that God sent you on Purim. But those are the shtei monos. There are aspects of Torah which we know come from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? And there are aspects that are from we think are ours, but really are his. Now we didn't get as far as we're going to go, but I just want to explain what he's going to say in the next piece, and then maybe we'll get to it next week. He said like this: that on Purim we have Mishlach Manos and Matanas Levyainim. What is the difference between Mishlach Manos and Matanas Levyainim? Matanas Levyainim are to the poor. Mishlach Manos are to friends. What's really the difference between the two? So Tzedek is an amazing thing. Mishlach Manos, Matanas Levyainim, is to satisfy a need. There's a poor person, he doesn't have anything, doesn't have money, doesn't have food. You are addressing a need. A physical need. He needs to eat. He needs money, right? So you're giving him money, giving him food. That's Matanas Levyainim. When you give Shalach Manos, what are you giving? Someone says it's Shalach Manos, right? And they give you the 15th pineapple, right?
Relationship.
Baruch Hashem, this ended. But there was a tkufa that people sent coconuts. What do you do with a coconut? You know what you do with a coconut?
Give it to the next person.
Pass it on. But all sorts of things. What is the idea of Shalach Manos? Tzedek is an amazing thing. Shalach Manos is not God knows you don't need it. You don't need the calories. You don't need the coconut. You don't need the mess. You don't need anything, right? It's the covet. It's the covet. It's the respect. It's the acknowledgement. In other words, you go to a person and say, "You are important to me." And therefore I'm sending you Shalach Manos. It's not addressing a need at all. Right? I think this is bearing in the halacha. There's halacha, there are more paskins in Hilchos Purim. That what if the person declines to accept it? The person says, "Thank you very much, sending it, I don't need it." Take it home, give it to somebody else. Was the person Yotzei Shalach Manos? And Moshe says yes. So all the place were bothered. Like, why should that be? They have all kinds of spars and things. The teretz is pasha. Has nothing to do with the food. Has nothing to do with the food. Matanas Levyainim, it's supplying a need. So if the person doesn't accept it, about you engage in Matanas Levyainim. Shalach Manos is the covet, right? All is necessary. The person should see that you want to send a Shalach Manos. But if the person says, "Listen, I have so much, thank you so much, I'm so grateful," like, give it to somebody else. What?
What does it have to be food?
Why?
Could be anything.
Now that's a good question. B'chlal, why Mishpach Manas has to be food?